Page 22, Marianne. Introducing a couple of more things here. Dynamics and a slur. Dynamics is just a fancy word that means loud and soft. We've already talked about it a little bit. Okay, now we're getting more specific. There's different levels of loud and soft. And it's not concrete. It's soft to one person is loud to another. It's just, you decide. How loud is loud and how soft is soft. The P for piano is soft, but you can get softer than that. So this is not as soft as you can get. It's just soft to you, okay? And then MP and MF and F. F is forte or loud, but it's not as loud as, there are louder indications than this. So if this isn't as loud as you can play, this is just loud. So you decide the difference between loud and soft yourself. And the MP and MF is kind of in the middle. Well, one thing kind of important. It's not kind of important, it is important. The important thing about this is when they give you a dynamic like that, in this piece it's MF at the beginning, got sort of a moderately loud or a medium loud or, you know, whatever. It applies to the melody. So that's the kicker. So you decide how loud medium loud is, and that's what you play the melody at. Everything else has to be under it. And you decide how much under it is. Just don't play everything medium loud. Ugh. In this piece, I don't see any other indications except medium loud. So it's like the whole thing is medium loud. Because you're going to get these things, and then you have to maintain that more or less until you get another indication to do something else. Well, I'm looking through it. I don't see any other dynamics given. It's just medium loud, so the whole thing is going to be medium loud, more or less. You can get a little louder and a little softer here as you feel it, but otherwise it's basically medium loud. And when I'm referring to that, I'm referring to the melody, okay? The chords, we got these chords again. You don't have to feel the chord. You can feel the melody. And that's dynamics. They are Italian words, and we just learn them. The slur. That symbol, the curved line, might look familiar because it's exactly the same thing as for a tie. However, for a slur, the notes are different, and a slur can be any number of notes, 2 or more. So if you look at the first line, there's a great big long curved line over the whole line, from the first measure to the last measure of the first line. That's a slur. If you look at the last 2 measures of the first line, that F, the half note and the whole note, it's got that curved line underneath them. 2 notes, same pitch, that's a tie. So that F, you're going to play it in the third measure, and you're going to hold it out for 6 counts. You're not playing it again in the last measure, you're holding it down. So you got a slur and a tie together. Isn't that fun, huh? The other lines have it too, you have different notes, but they've got it, okay? What the slur means for piano, because it means different things for different instruments, I'm talking piano, is you simply play the notes connected. Legato. Some people say smooth. I don't like smooth because you can't play smooth on a piano. The piano is a percussive instrument. It doesn't do smooth. You can connect them, one note and then another note together, so there's no silence between them. But you can't do it smooth. If I had a wind instrument, I could slur the notes together, not tongue them, play different notes, just keep blowing and play. That's smooth, okay? That's kind of... So what we're going to do is we're going to connect all those notes together. Now if I have 2 notes that are the same pitch, I can't connect them together because the piano, when I lift the key up, the sound stops. So no matter how quick I do that, the sound stops unless it's a real low note. And in the third measure, the second and third measure, you have 2 E's. Okay, you just, as little silence as possible. Connect them as best you can. Whatever, okay. Takes a little practice. You don't want a lot of silence. That's not slurred, all right? That's too much silence. I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking it too. If those slurs weren't there, you'd play it the same. I mean, everything we played so far, we played connected, right? We've slurred them. Yes, you did slur them, and you didn't know it because they didn't introduce the slur yet. So what's the whole deal about? Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm going to tell you because there is something important going on here. And that is between the slurs, we want a little bit of silence, and that's something we haven't done in the past. It's like when you talk in sentences. Well, you might have a little bit of silence between the sentences, so we know when one sentence ends and another sentence begins. That's just the way we do it. Well, in music, we play in musical sentences. So, and that's what these slurs are defining for you. And it gets kind of complicated, so let's just keep it simple, all right? When they give you words, it makes it easier because the slurs usually follow the sentences in the words. So this first line, all night, Mary Ann, and then it's like down by the seashore, sifting sand. It's like different phrases in the words, and the music's just following along like that. So when we play the last measure of the first line, and the F is down, right? It's down from the measure before. Before we play the D, the first note in the second line, we want to lift up the F just a little bit early so we get silence before. We don't want directly. We don't want to connect those two notes because there's two different slurs. And that's the important part of this. Don't connect the slurs, all right? I mean, you connect a slur, but don't connect one slur to another. Don't confuse me, all right? All right. You're getting the idea, I hope. It'll be easier when they do something and the slur doesn't take the whole line and it's in the middle. It's easier to explain it, so I'll try it there. I'm going to be saying that a lot because it's really important. Connect the notes with a slur, within the slur, but I want a little bit of silence between slurs. That's melody. Left hand, the accompaniment, don't worry about it. If they want that stuff in the accompaniment, in most cases, they'll say so. So let's try this out, Mary Ann. 4/4 time. Your right hand is going to start with the third finger on the E here. Left hand, little finger on C here. Yes, it's C position. Okay. I'll give us 4 counts and we'll play it slowly together. Make sure you're playing the same notes. And here, when the left hand's only playing one note, you got to listen to make sure you're playing the same note I'm playing, okay? The chords are not so bad, but the individual notes, you want to hear them. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2,